And thank you for helping the Arkansas Democratic Party. I saw Senator Fryer, Congressman Ross, and Attorney General McDaniel, and a number of other people earlier. And I want to thank everyone who spoke before, including my friends who showed up, Adrian Grenade, and Ashley Judd, who campaigned for me every time I ran for office. She said that her Kentucky roots make her a hillbilly as opposed to a redneck like me. And I must say, before Ashley and I became friends, I had never encountered the difference between a redneck and a hillbilly before. And I'm still studying about it. When I figure out what the real difference is, you'll be the first to know. But let me say a couple of things seriously. I was quite surprised when President Obama asked me to nominate him. No former president's ever done anything like this, but the person who might otherwise do it has a traveling job and can't participate in politics. And I'm very proud of her. But I just wanted to tell you in advance, every word I say tomorrow night, I believe. This election is a big deal to me, and in some ways I feel even more strongly than I did before. Because the country in modern times only hires Democrats to be president when things are messed up. Otherwise, they just do Republicans calling and blah, blah, blah. Give me tax cuts, ask the government, tell me how great everything is, and go home. And then when it runs into a brick wall, like it always does, then they ask us to come fix it. And then if they don't feel fixed, they turn right around and ask Republicans to do to them what they did one more time. That happened to me in 1994, and it happened to President Obama in 2008. And so, tomorrow night I'm going to try to talk about what's at stake in the election without in any way interfering with what he intends to do the next night, which is to say what he's going to do if we give him another term. But I just want to say a couple of things that I say all the time, so it's nothing new. This economy that he inherited was profoundly wounded. Nobody who ever served, including me, no one ever could expect to turn it around overnight. The economy fell at its bottom 6 months after the president took office. 9%. That's almost depression level shrinkage. And I'll give you the details tomorrow night, but that's quite a blow. And it was really interesting to me that when he was trying so hard to put America back to work, 2 full years before the election, the Senate Republican leaders said that their #1 goal was not to put America back to work, but to put the president out of work. And the Republicans, when they were meeting in Tampa, tickled me. Because they create this parallel universe in which everybody's self-made is worth flip. And made it in spite of the awful burdens the government had strung around their shoulders and their ankles. And we just want to hook everybody up to government life supports. Don't believe in free enterprise, don't believe in hard work, don't believe in all that. Now I became president, I've done 20 things to make a living in my life. I don't need any lectures from them for hard work. But I I did notice, and you may have too, they were really specific in bashing the president, and they said next to nothing about what they were going to do. And actually, they were really smart in doing that. Because if people knew what they were going to do, they wouldn't vote for them. So they create an alternative reality with an alternative president and with alternative attacks. And they tell us that they're good husbands, good fathers, good Americans, totally self-made, and you can trust me, see me after the election for the details. Now, unfortunately for them, we got a pretty good record of what they're going to do. And I just want to remind you of one thing. This debt's going to be a big problem. We have to deal with it. You were here at a party for the Democratic Party of Arkansas, which probably has the strictest budget law in America. And I can't take any credit for it because it was passed in 1948. And I was only 2 at the time. And I think Governor Bibby was 1. I think he's a year down now. But basically, we don't get in trouble because in our state, if the governor and the chief fiscal officer let 6 months go by where you spend more money than you're taking in, it's a misdemeanor. And so we don't get in trouble. On the other hand, when we have a recession, because we're a state, we get a lot of help from the federal government on unemployment payments and food stamps and the stimulus. The federal government now, they're talking about, you see that debt clock they have? I'm just going to just give you one example. Now in that debt clock, running up the debt, blah, 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 they sort of forgot to tell you that, yeah, they will. This country has never, ever, ever run a large structural deficit in times of economic growth until 1981. And in the first 8 years they were running this economic theory out, they tripled the debt of the country. All the way back to George Washington, they tripled it. Then in the next 4 years, they increased it 150% again. And when President Bush, the first President Bush, really sucked it up and decided to do something about it by signing a bill the Democratic Congress passed to pay for things as you go along and have spending cuts and very modest tax increases, the right wing was so mad they made him apologize for it at the Republican convention. At the time I was happy because it helped me get elected. But it was sad because he did the right thing and they made him apologize for it. And then I served for 8 years and we kept bringing the deficit down. Then we had 4 surplus budgets in a row. Then what happened? We put them right back in, or the Supreme Court did. They got rid of pay as you go, had another big round of tax cuts, spent lots of money, and doubled it all over again. And took us from, we had a projected surplus of $5.7 trillion, and they turned it into projected debt of $5.8 trillion over the next 10 years. We would have been out of debt by next year or year after next for the first time since Andrew Jackson was president. What does that have to do with what we're doing now? What I got to convince the people up north I did, the rules that we followed then, that we should normally follow, do not apply now. The reason President Obama did that stimulus is when interest rates are 0 and there is no private activity, if the government does not step in to put people to work and to help people get through the day, they don't make it. So that stimulus, his contribution to this, that big old debt clock that you saw, is the $800 billion stimulus. All that other trillions and trillions of dollars, he didn't have anything to do with that. And his budgets on an annual basis have smaller increases in spending than mine did. Never mind the Republicans who really got it on that spending thing. So it's just one of those things that they think if they say it many enough times, people will believe it. We are depending on you to go home and tell the American people the truth. The best economic policy is to invest now and pass do what the Sense and Votes Commission said, pass a 10-year plan to reduce the debt starting a year after growth is clearly returned. Because you cannot get blood out of a turnip. There is no country that can balance a budget without three things. It's got to have economic growth, adequate revenue, and spending control. If you're missing one of the three, you're not going to get there. We don't have any growth, we can't balance the budget. And if you doubt it, look at what Europe has done. They went for austerity now. German interest rates are even lower than ours. They should be putting people to work, but they went for austerity now. What happened? Their unemployment rate's 3 points higher than ours. The United Kingdom went for austerity now. What happened? They went right back into recession. We've had 4.5 million new jobs since President Obama. That's more than we had in the 7 years in the previous administration between the end of the short recession in 2001 and the crash. 7 years versus 2.5, Obama wins by 2 million jobs. We've also had a taste of their austerity because they refused to pass the president's job plan. So they refused to do one more year of helping state and local governments that have to run on a balanced budget, keep the teachers and the nurses and the police officers and the firefighters on the job. What happened? 700,000 people lost their job. So when you go home, tell the people if they really want to put America back to work, look at the job score for the last 2.5 years. The score is Obama plus 4.5 million, Tea Party Congress minus 700,000.
Then you get tickled when Governor Romney went to Israel and having to praise all things Israeli, talking about how wonderful their health system was. And how wonderful it was that they could fund for 10% of their income and ours cost about 18. And how wonderful it was that they covered everybody. And that's a good system. And then somebody pointed out to him the government did it. He said, oops, edit that out. Let's rewrite that.
So since this era of the healthcare bill, $1.1 billion has been paid back to ratepayers, individuals and small businesses, in rate reductions, because you're going to spend 80-85% of that premium money on your healthcare now, not profits and promotion. For the first time in 50 years, we've had 2 years in a row of healthcare inflation under 4%. More than 2.5 million young people, 26 and under, have insurance for the first time because for the first time they will be carried on their tax. Millions and millions of seniors have gotten free preventive tests for breast cancer, for osteoporosis, for hypertension, and it's going to come down on your health bill. And the cost is going down because if you've got insurance, you see the doctor sooner when you're less expensive and more likely to recover. And if you're not covered, you see the doctor later, you show up in the emergency room and cost 5 times as much, and you're less likely to recover. This is not rocket science. And yet somehow
He's the bad guy. This is an economic issue. You can't have health care costs that cost us literally $1 trillion more a year than we spend in any other country's health system. That before the housing meltdown accounted for 2/3 of working bankruptcies in this country, and kept lots and lots and lots of good, honest small business people from being able to give their employees a pay raise because they spent it all on health care premiums. He changed that, and you need to go home and tell people that.
Look, this is a great country. We are coming back. I talked to a Nobel Prize-winning economist today about, how deeply wounded the economy was, how long it takes to come back. And he said, all I can tell you is, in other countries, they think America is doing well. There was a global survey of business leaders all over the world, taken just in the last 2 weeks. And they asked these leaders, which president would be better for the world economy, Obama or Romney? In North America, it was pretty much evenly divided because they're influenced by all this bashing press coverage the president gets. But around the rest of the world, they just look at it. And they desperately want us. They desperately want America to come back. People making lots of money know that their future depends on America coming back. You know what they said? By 2-to-1, they said it would be better for the economy if Obama were re-elected as president. I recommend you go home and talk to your friends who are undecided or persuadable, and don't get mad. Talk about the evidence. The facts are our friend.
Yeah.
The policies are our friend. The rhetoric is our enemy.
Yeah.
The facts are our friend. The people and their creeds and their hopes. That's where we win. Now let's give you one fact. Since we're at a Democratic convention. And I've been one for a while. Our belief that middle-class economics is trying to help develop human capacity to stay in the future business and invest in new technology and scientific research is put up against their belief in trickle-down economics. The only thing that really matters is shrinking the size of government, except for defense and Medicare, and cutting taxes for people in the high-income group as much as possible. Now, in the 51 years since John Kennedy became president, the Republicans have had the White House for 28 years, and we've had it 24. The economy's produced 66 million new jobs. 24 under them, 42 under us. You just need to go talk to people. Don't wake up on election day and wish you'd said something to somebody about this. They could have turned the tide. We've got a big dog in this song. It's bigger than President Obama. It's bigger than all the countries. The future of our country is on the line. And we got to get it right. And before I go, think about this. What kind of country do you want to live in? You really want to live in a country where one party is so desperate to win the White House that they go around trying to make it harder for people to vote? If they're people of color, if they're poor people, if they're first-generation immigrants. In Pennsylvania, where they passed all these voter ID requirements and everything, the House Republican leader who passed it said it was one of their most important achievements because it would enable Governor Romney to defeat the president. Wow. In Ohio, they passed the whole 9 yards. Then the problem was in Ohio, you can actually put this stuff on the ballot pretty easy and overturn it. So they went back in. You got to give it to the Republicans. They're good. They were giving them. And then they snuck in an end to advance voting. Then they allowed the counties, and every county in Ohio has an election commission, 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans, to decide whether to allow advance voting. Well, the Democrats aren't hypocrites. We were for it everywhere. So in all those counties that are heavily Republican, the Democrats said, okay, we'll have advanced voting. And in every single overwhelmingly Democratic county, all the Republicans voted against allowing advanced voting. This is not complicated. America is becoming more diverse and younger and more vibrant. And it's our real biggest in the future. We are younger than Europe, we are younger than Japan, in 20 years we'll be younger than China. Because of our immigrants, because of our diversity, because we are a place where it's easy to start a business and where you can pursue your dreams, we just got to get back on the right track. Tomorrow night,